Hello, my name is Chris Gray, and in this video I will be explaining what it means to be literate in physical education. So some people may think that incorporating literacy into physical education isn't necessary or maybe a waste of time. However, I think it's crucial for teachers to incorporate reading and writing and communicating into their subject areas regardless of the discipline, as it promotes healthy social and emotional well-being. I aim to integrate literacy into physical education by ensuring students are given the opportunity to read, write, speak, and listen in order to help them understand the course content in each of my classes. So when introducing new sports or games, sometimes I'll bring printouts of the instructions and rules and instruct students to read them rather than me simply explaining the lesson. Other times I will explain the lesson so they're able to practice both the reading and their listening skills in physical education. At the end of each lesson, I will provide students with exit slips for them to fill out during the last few minutes of class. The exit slip will have, say, 3 questions for them to answer and hand in before leaving class. Some examples of some questions I may ask on these exit slips include, say, what's one thing you learned in class today? What's one thing you found interesting about class today? And what's one question or concern you have regarding today's class? I'll read each exit slip before the following class, and we'll address some of the concerns and answers some of the questions that students had at the beginning of the following class. That's when I'll answer them in front of the class. This is a good way to assess student participation as well, so you can see kind of who really put thought into their exit slips and who didn't, and yeah, it's a good way to formatively assess them. To encourage students to speak orally, I'll get them to do a presentation towards the end of the semester or the end of the year. This could be a presentation on, say, like healthy practices, or maybe I'll ask them to conduct a mini lesson on one of the units that we did earlier in the semester. I believe presentations are a great way to improve on one's speaking skills and improve one's confidence speaking in front of others, as these are very important skills to have in the workforce. Helping students become literate, not illiterate, in physical education strengthens their language arts skills and allows them to integrate new knowledge into their idea of what it actually means to them. So it requires students to be able to think critically, self-reflect, and set realistic goals for themselves, as it allows them to easily interact with the world, educate themselves, and provide meaningful contributions to society. So the strategies that I'll use to incorporate literacy into my physical education classes include a conversational and interactive approach. So rather than simply getting them to play the sport after I explain how it works and the rules and everything, I'll actually encourage students to speak, and I'll ask them questions throughout each lesson. So for an example, as I explain the rules of soccer, I may ask for a volunteer to tell me in their own words what an offside is, or maybe I'll ask, like, why would a player need to do a throw-in? It's just simple questions like that will encourage students to listen carefully to instruction and think critically. In addition, I'll get students to explain to me the rules of some of the games for when I bring in the instruction sheets in for them to read, as I mentioned earlier. This will encourage reading to understand rather than fake reading, as we learned about in this course. The main point of my approaches is to engage students in a way that promotes the elements of literacy in physical education. So this class has shown me that teaching physical education isn't just about getting students to play sports or encouraging them and educating them on how to live a healthy lifestyle, but it's just as important to encourage literacy practices on a daily basis, as these skills, including reading and writing and listening and speaking, are important to have in and out of school. So for an example, you can know everything there is to know about sports and health, but if you're not literate, you won't have the skills needed to communicate your knowledge to others. So in this case, there's no use for all that knowledge because no one would be able to learn anything from you. So it's very important that teachers promote literacy in each of their classes, from grades primary all the way through post-secondary, as practice makes improvement. I'm not going to say practice makes perfect, because you cannot perfect the components of literacy, obviously. I don't think you can, maybe you can, but anyway, the main point is that more students are able to are able to practice literacy so that they will become better at it. Thank you for your time.